I have an interesting math problem for us to solve, Dr. Austin.
Let's hear it, Dr. Hager.
So, Congress introduces a new plan that's going to pay down the entire United States national debt.
Wow, ambitious.
And what it's going to do is it's going to raise funds at a rate of $1 million per hour. And I mean every hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Every time an hour goes by, $1 million towards the debt.
Impressive.
So our job is to score this plan or rate it by figuring out how long it would take to pay down the debt.
So that's our question. How long will it take to pay down the current U.S. national debt?
Yes, ma'am.
There's some unknown information here we're going to have to find. What is the current U.S. national debt?
We have no idea.
No, I don't. I don't know that.
Are you okay with Googling?
Yes, let's Google and then let's rate the sources we see.
I like that. Okay, so I
Determine if
found
it's
this website. It's called usnationaldebt.org.
Okay.
And it had some sources at the bottom, you know, it had some citations, so I feel like I trust this website. And as you can see, the site is this dizzying mess of numbers, right? And a lot of them are changing in real time, which is the whole shtick here. But can you see in the upper left, it says national debt.
Yes.
And it says 19 trillion, blah, blah, blah. And furthermore, the number is changing all the time. So I feel like, I guess we could screenshot it and use an exact number, but I feel like that's not a good plan. So what do you want to do?
So we have to use estimation here. We're going to have to decide, is it going to be appropriate to overestimate or underestimate the current U.S. national debt?
We have choices. So if we were to underestimate, that kind of means like you're going to get less time. That's sort of like giving Congress the benefit of the doubt, right? You're getting like a conservative estimate.
Conservative estimate.
And if we were to round up, it would take more time, which is sort of like being a little more critical of the plan. So I kind of feel like there's a value judgment there, and I feel like both approaches are valid.
Yes, both approaches would answer the question as asked.
Which one do you want to do?
I say let's underestimate the actual current U.S. national debt.
Okay,
Go from there.
So what do you think about, we'll go a little bit accurate. What do you think about going with the 199 and then ignoring everything else after that, just rounding it down?
$19.9 trillion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's get that.
so we convert everything to these whole numbers. We have $19,900 billion. And we are going to divide this number by $1 million per hour.
Okay, let's see how long this is going to take.
Absolutely. What we get is 19,900,000 hours. Done.
You have an answer, Dr. Hager, but it is not helping me. I can't
I'm not done.
comprehend how long this would be.
It is a lot of hours.
19.9 Oh, okay. Yeah, help.
Okay, so what do you want? You want a different unit of time? You want days?
Let's try days. Let's convert to days and see if that's more informative.
All right, fine. So we take 19,900,000 hours and we divide by 24 hours per day, and we get roughly 829,167 days.
829,000 days. I still can't really comprehend how long that's going to take.
All right.
Let's do another conversion.
All right, so how about years?
Let's try years.
365 days per year. So you take that 829,167 number, divide it by 365 days per year, and you get roughly 2,272 years.
A very long time, but this helps me. Years, I can get my head around that. I do realize the debt's not going to be paid off in your lifetime, my lifetime, our children's lifetime, not even in our grandchildren's lifetime. So I can make a decision on this plan.
So this is the answer. This is the form that we want, and we can say for sure that this is not a helpful plan.
Not a helpful plan. It's not going to pay off the U.S. debt in any reasonable amount of time.
Okay. So I think that when we are solving problems like this, there's always this question of how much should we write up and how should we write something up. So I want to know, what advice do you have for students who are writing this up for, say, a homework assignment in M302?
Okay, so if you're writing this up as a Mindscape solution, you wouldn't just write down 2,272 years.
No.
That doesn't give me enough information. I'd want you to come up with that answer. I'd want you to fill out your math arithmetic you did to come up with that answer with some English around it. I actually want a short essay. That's what I would expect. A few sentences, maybe a paragraph. Not just the calculations you used to get the answer. The calculations, yes, but include some English around
I think
that.
it's nice when the calculations are there, but I agree. It can't just be the fraction math. Yeah, I agree with you.
And at the beginning, when you posed the question itself didn't give us all the information. We had to do some searching to know what the
We
current
had
US
to
debt was.
Google. That's right.
Yes, so let's include sources. You can copy and paste the website that you used.
That's fair. We don't have to do formal source citing like a table of sources. You could just copy paste. It's just fine.
And say that's where you found the current U.S. national debt. But then you didn't go with the number you saw because it was changing all the time. We decided to underestimate. We discussed we could have equally as well overestimated, but we decided to underestimate. That was a decision in your calculation process. So if you made that, you would state whether you over or underestimated and explain why. Justify just a sentence or two to justify that.
Do you know what I find so often with these problems is you might solve this problem in your way, and if you show your solution to a couple other people, they could have completely different numeric answers.
That were just as valid.
Just as valid. I think that everyone would come to the conclusion that it's not a good plan, but just because someone else doesn't have 2,272, they're not worse or better than you. So it's so crucial to justify that number by explaining the choices that you made that led to that number. What would make your answer different from someone else's? Totally agree with you.
And then when you have that answer, pause and say, does that make sense to you? Does it inform you about how to address the original question? Can you make a judgment call from that?
Totally agree. I think that's a little muddy, sometimes a little hard to tell, more of an art than a science. But in this case, we both agreed that ours was just totally nonsense. It just didn't make any sense to us. Like, how many hours does a person live?
Our first answer.
Right,
Yes.
right. And
So we
so
kept
converting to
converting.
years was better. Do you feel like if a student were to follow this list of tips, they would have stronger write-ups for their homework? Do you think that would be pretty?
If our M302 students hit each of these points in their write-ups for their Mindscapes, I think they'll be successful in this course.
Great.